Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Office Podcast. I am your host, Asan. Just want to start off by thanking everybody that tuned in to the last episode where we dissected the pilot episode, what I thought about it. I gave it a little bit of a ranking system in the podcast as well. So if you'd like to watch that, the link is in the description box below. But today we are talking about something completely different, something which I didn't know was a possibility, something that I hoped would happen with one of the characters. But no, I only recently found out. I'd been doing some deep diving on the internet about The Office, and I found out that there was going to be a show called The Farm, which was going to follow my favorite Dwight Schrute around, and just what he gets up to, and what would have been his life outside of Dundee Mifflin. I think that would have been really, really interesting to have as a concept. As I was reading, it did say that they'd have to pull him out early from the show, which would have been really upsetting because obviously you had Michael Scott leaving, and to pull Dwight out as well would have been a big blow. I think you had a lot of characters there: Jim, Dwight, even Andy at one point, where if you pulled him out of the show, it wouldn't have been the same show. And losing Michael Scott was a massive, massive thing. And to lose Dwight very early as well would have been a huge blow to the show. And I don't think it would have done as well, especially with the back and forth with Jim, even though he had a different role in season 9 at his sports marketing company. And just having Dwight around the office while Jim wasn't there and just being part of the main narrative, there would have been problems if he wasn't there. But The Farm is what we're here to talk about. And The Farm, as I said, would have been a spin-off series for the show, for Dwight. And I don't, as I said, it would have been a really interesting show. I think it would have been one of the best spin-offs ever in show series history or TV series history. And that's because Dwight is such a massive character. The storylines would have been amazing. There's a little bit here that I'm going to read out in just a sec. But the storylines would have been amazing. It would have been incredible. I think what would have lacked would have been main characters. Obviously, you would have had Mose. You would have had Dwight himself. But I'd want to see some people from The Office as well. I'd want to see Jim in there. And I'm not sure he would have been available to do that. I'd want to see Kevin in there. I'd want to see Creed randomly pop up here and then. I would have wanted to see other main characters in there, but I don't think that would have been possible. So for me, yes, amazing concept. And I know there's a spin-off coming very soon, or that's what they're saying, which we can discuss in another episode. But with The Office, or The Farm, I think that had they played it right, it would have been epic. It would have been amazing. But I'm going to just quickly read what I was reading the other day. So I think it's Lieberstein had planned for the spin-off to develop into a mockumentary like The Office, about the hardships of running a small family farm at a time where they're being squeezed out. So I think it would have been very, very entertaining. I think it would have been a very, very good concept. It continues on to say it would have had old characters and new characters. They would have kept the B&B going, and it would have been a lot of fun. So again, what characters would there have been? Obviously, Mose would have played a massive part, and I really like Mose. I really, really do. But I don't know how strong a character he would have been throughout a whole series with Dwight. I think the back and forth that him and Jim have is amazing, and with other characters as well, it's much better. So I think it would have been a risk. It would have been a massive risk to do something like that. Again, he just continues to say the spin-off's major new characters were introduced in the unaired pilot. Okay, I didn't know there was a pilot. That's new information to me. 12 minutes of which they were chopped up and edited into season 9 of The Office. Okay. That makes more sense. So obviously when he gets married to Esther, or was going to get married to Esther, that would have been the character. Okay, so I don't know. I mean, again, Esther was an okay character to have in there, But I think with the back and forth he had with the other characters, it just wouldn't have been the same. It wouldn't have been the same Dwight. I think the dynamics would have been completely different. But again, and how would they have done it with? Because obviously he was still manager of Dundee Mifflin, so or towards the end anyway. So unless they were doing it whilst he wasn't manager, maybe if it was sort of like early season 9 or back end of season 8 where he's still a salesman, I guess that would have worked out. But I would have wanted to have seen more Dundee Mifflin in there. I would have wanted to see how other characters are doing and developing. I would have wanted to see mention of other characters as well. So I don't know. I mean, it's a tricky one for me. I think any spin-off is risky. Dwight definitely would have been a fantastic spin-off. The Farm would have been epic. But my only concern is, and would have been, how would they have spun it to be where you had old characters there, you had the same dynamic, you had, even Michael Scott show up randomly and stay in the B&B while he's visiting family in Scranton, something like that. But I don't think that would have happened. I don't think that would have been a thing they would have thought of. Obviously, he showed up in the last episode when Dwight got married. And again, any spin-off, you can have really, really good spin-offs. You really can. But they'd have to do this one correctly, because the worst thing they could have done is to make a spin-off, try and copy The Office, and then it completely belly flop and drown, as Michael Scott once says. So it would have been risky, and it would have could have tarnished the reputation of The Office as well. I think if anyone had clocked the spin-off before the series, it would have ruined their whole experience, I think. So I really hope deep down they do reconsider. I hope they do think about doing a spin-off with Dwight. I think it'd be very, very entertaining, but they'd have to keep those things in mind. They'd have to consider, who are they going to have in there? What is the dynamic going to be? What storylines they're going to have. Obviously, you've got the B&B, but like, what about it? What about it is going to actually be, something that is going to bring people back? So just reading on in this article here, again, I only read like a little bit of this article, or maybe even been another article where they said there was a spin-off. So a lot of this information is new to me. So them filming the pilot, I was not aware of that. The Farm episode also introduces a new love interest, which is Esther. So yeah, so it would have been back end of season 8, beginning of season 9, I believe. And again, I would have wanted to see more Dundee Mifflin and him being the manager. That would have really, really done well, because then you could have seen how he's balancing both. Is he gonna leave and just be full-time farm owner, or, that would have been really nice to see. It just continues on to say that, yeah, so she would have been the love interest. And then obviously Dwight and Angela got reunited in the end and married in the final season. Again, I think reading this, I think it's I guess it's not possible that they're going to do it. I mean, look, you've had multiverses in movies, right? They could have a Office multiverse, right? Where you could bring Dwight back, or a version of Dwight doing something different. I don't know. But yeah, it would have been very interesting, I think. Again, I mentioned earlier the spin-off that they're talking about, or they could be in the works. I think that would have been really, really interesting, or will be interesting. Another really good spin-off could have been Kevin and the bar, him owning Paul Richards at the end. His spin-off I would definitely watch. And I think with someone like Kevin, you don't need him to bounce off of other characters. So if there was a Kevin spin-off, you wouldn't need anyone from The Office being in those episodes. He would just get on with his own thing. He would cause mayhem wherever he went, and he would just be plain, normal, same old Kevin, and it would have worked. And a lot of characters can't say that they can do that. I mean, Jim needed Dwight. He needed Pam. He needed to prank Andy. He needed to prank Gabe in that one episode. But Kevin, I guess his back and forth with Oscar's pretty funny, but it wasn't a pivotal part of the show. It wasn't something I thought, oh, you definitely need Oscar, or you definitely need Angela. I think Kevin by himself, the way he is, the way he brings himself across, it would have been incredible. Other I guess other ones would have been like Toby as like the Scranton Strangler files or something like crazy like that, where you see the, how he's, again, a comedy element of it, obviously not a real serial killer series, but him just being the Scranton Strangler, him planning and plotting, him, I don't know, taking his anger that he has for Michael out on his victim, something crazy like that, man, I don't know. But yeah, I just thought it was a very interesting concept, the farm. I had to bring it up, I had to mention it, as, again, I only recently found out about it, so I think if they bring it back, it will be, or if they ever bring the concept back to life, I think it will be incredible, but they have to consider those few things that I've mentioned for sure. That, my beautiful people, is the episode today. Thank you so much for listening or watching wherever you're consuming this content. If you enjoyed, please hit the like button. Make sure to subscribe and share. Tell all of your friends that there's a podcast out there which talks about The Office. I don't think there is one. I think there's other channels and other podcasts that talk about shows in general, but this is just for The Office lovers. So if you enjoyed, like, share, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next episode. Take care.